All right, Motor City Sports Talk. We back. Detroit Lions Talk, talking free agency spotlight. Today we talking about defensive tackle, former nose tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs, and now defensive tackle, well, formerly defensive tackle of recent Atlanta Falcons. They're expecting bigger things than what they got this year from Dontari Poe, switching into that 4-3. He was a 3-4 nose tackle with Kansas City, doing big things. You know, he had a lot. His usage rate was very, very, very high in Kansas City. They felt that it wasn't that much tread on that tire left. Atlanta, brought him in, I believe, for 1 year. He got a lot of breaks in Atlanta. He wasn't a full-time defensive tackle. But, for real, he didn't play as many snaps with Kansas City is what I'm trying to say. And for them, they didn't produce. That defense didn't produce overall this year. He didn't produce like they thought he was going to produce. And I think he needs a system change or a team change. And I think Dontari Poe is another guy we've been going over again, that has great value, is a great value pick. He's not going to break the bank just based off what he did in Atlanta. If everything physically checks out with him, why not give him a chance? This is a guy that's 320, 330, 40 pounds that ran a sub 540. This dude is athletic. He's disruptive, and he's a good run stopper at the minimum. He's going to be able to provide stability up front in the run game. If he get back to form, he got the athletic ability and potential to rush the passer and be a force in the interior, and he won't break the bank. You know what I'm saying? Put him next to A'Shawn Robinson, and potentially if they keep Ziggy Ansah, and you're able to get them another running mate on the outside in the draft or something like that, and you're able to rotate to Kerry Hyder, Zettel, Washington in, you're able to bring maybe another defensive tackle in, like maybe bring him back Nada in. You still got Keem Spence, you got A'Shawn Robinson, Dontari Poe. He's definitely a nimble-footed big fella. I think, if the Lions have that defensive line reputation they had under Martin Mayhew and whoever was defensive line coach back then, the Lions, they pretty much, they developed talent in the front four. No matter if it was, Nick Fairley when he had his hot and cold games, and Dominic Sue, Kyle Vandenbosch, those guys. Then you had guys that came under him that was hot. The dude, George Johnson came in, he was hot. Kerry Hyder had a high year. Zeke Ansah had a high year with Sue. They developed pass rushers. Even guys like Sammy Hill had good games as well. Historically, even going back to Corey Williams, Sean Rogers, you going back to guys like that who are dogs up front. The Lions always had dogs. They always was able to develop defensive linemen. And if they can get the most and squeeze a little bit more out of Dontari Poe, he could be an integral part of making a playoff run and winning a playoff game and beating, teams that's above 500. And I think bringing him in for the right price, and that's been a very, very, a very thing I've been really stressing. It's bringing the guy in for the right price, and I think he's another value pick with some upside. But physically, does he check out? Is there a lot of wear and tear on him? Is it the reason why his play has been going on because the usage rate he had in Kansas City, and maybe he's not going to be able to be a full-time force anymore? Maybe he has wear and tear. Or maybe he's not as physically able as he once was. Now, if there's no physical wear and tear of any seriousness, then it's just a system change. It's just a coaching change. Can my coaching staff coach him up to be the best Dontari Poe in the 4-3 defense that I think we're going to run? Even the 3-4 defense, he give you that versatility. And I think playing next to A'Shawn Robinson, that could be a disruptive force. You bring Nada back, Keem Spence. I mean, your defensive line rotation is going to be crazy. It's going to be like old times, And, I like Dontari Poe. He'll be high on my list. I like Starley Alute a little bit more, than Dontari Poe, but he does have a heart condition as well that hasn't really been an issue in the NFL, I don't believe, coming out of Utah, I believe, and we'll see. I definitely like him better than Sheldon Richardson. I definitely like him better than Nada at this point, but he's definitely a freakish athlete as a big fella, and if you can get the most out of this guy, or you can put this guy in a position to be successful, I mean, he can be a Pro Bowl caliber defensive tackle, all-pro defensive tackle. That's the type of ability and athletic ability this guy has. He's a very, very special, rare athlete, and he has some rare, football traits on the skill side. So it's definitely a guy that's high on my list. Defensive tackle-wise, I think is Starley Alute, and then it's Dontari Poe on my list. Those are the two defensive tackles that I'm looking at on the Lions wish list to play next to A'Shawn Robinson. We only need one. And then we can bring back Nada at a lower price, and you got a deep, defensive tackle group after that, especially with Keem Spence being your fourth defensive tackle behind Nada being your third, Your starters being Ashawn Robinson, Dontari, Poe, whoever they choose to bring in. But that's the free agent spotlight. We on to the next one tomorrow. We on.